Welcome everybody to the MPLAN information session. For 2024, we're going to be starting our applications for cohort 2. I'm going to give it just about one more minute while some of our other registrants are coming in, and then we'll get kicked off for today. Okay. All right. It looks like our attendees have leveled out, so I think we can go ahead and kick off.
We're,
Welcome.
oh,
Go ahead, Darcel.
I was saying
Okay.
we have a few of our mission directors that are needing the link. So if we could get started at maybe in about 2 minutes,
Okay.
that'd be great. But I will say, while we are waiting, let's go ahead and start filling in that chat box and letting us know what institution you represent. Please.
Yes, completely agree. For everyone using it, open up that chat function. Tell us what institution you're from, where you're located, all the exciting info. Oh, getting information that the chat is disabled. Let me fix that.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute.
Okay, chat enabled. Darcel, have we got our panelists in?
We sure do.
Okay.
We're ready.
All right. We are ready. Once again, welcome everyone to the Merit Partnership Learning Award notification MPLAN information session. I'm Dan Reitz. I'm with a partner in the project, HeroX. You'll see that we're the platform that things are being hosted on. We're extremely excited to have you all here today. We're going to talk with this challenge sponsors here from NASA who are running the entire MPLAN project. And we're also going to get to hear from the directorates and the actual submitters of the subtopics that are available in this challenge. I'm going to start very briefly before handing it over to our great hosts, just on some admin things for using Zoom. So obviously I got the chat fixed, so you can all chat in there. Love to hear where you're representing and where you're at. For any questions that you have throughout this presentation, please use that Q&A feature rather than the chat. The chat doesn't stay continuously logged, so things that go in the chat do have a tendency to get lost. But if you put it in that Q&A section, I'm going to be tracking it, and we're going to get to those at the end of the presentation today, and we'll be able to go through them one by one. So please don't be shy about using that. We look forward to having all of your questions, and these questions that we received today can be posted as FAQs on the contest to help future solvers who may not get to attend to this meeting. And with that, I think we're ready to go. So I will go ahead and pass it over to Darcel Mitchell and let her take it away.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good day, depending on where you're from. I am Darcel Mitchell. I am the Education Project Manager for NASA MURA Partnership Learning Award Notification, also known as MPLAN. And others that you will hear on the call today are Rod Chappelle, who is the MURA Partnerships and Sustainability Pillar Lead, and he's also one of the activity managers, as well as Miss Tracy Washington, who's also the activity manager for NASA MPLAN. Today, you will hear an overview of NASA MPLAN, and you will hear a synopsis of the topic areas by the mission directorates. We hope that you enjoy yourselves. Again, as stated, please provide your institution in the chat. Please use the Q&A feature for those questions. And I'm going to hand it over to the activity manager, Ms. Tracy Washington.
Thank you, Darcel. Can everyone hear me? Just want to do last mic check there. Awesome. So great to have everyone here. Thank you so much for participating in the call today to find out more about MPLAN 2024. Next slide, Dan. What is MPLAN? I know that that is the burning question that everyone has today, and you will not have to wait any longer. I will not belabor the question that you have. Let's get right into it. So MPLAN, as Darcel said, stands for the MURA Partnership Learning Award Notification. I will let you all take a couple of moments to review the slide that you see here. As you are doing so, I want to share that this is a MURA activity, the Minority University Research Education Project, which many of you may already be familiar with. This particular program or activity within the MURA portfolio in conjunction with HeroX is administered under the America Competes Act, and it does provide more flexibility for this award than some of the other awards that you all may be used to applying for. Tracy, what in the world does that mean? More flexibility means that in this particular instance, you have a shorter period of performance. So that period of performance, and we'll talk more about details in a bit, will be less than a year. It also offers the opportunity for us to provide, sort of as we've done in the past with MURA planning grants, provide lower cost activities and early identification of future funding activities. Opportunities. So there are a lot of benefits to utilizing this model, this challenge model, that is actually an award as opposed to the grants that some of you all may have previously applied for or are currently applying for. Next slide. So getting into some more of the terminology and just more details about this FY24 activity for MPLAN. So this is a prize challenge authority, way different than some of the other MURA opportunities that you all may be familiar with. This is a great opportunity for MSIs that are coming into the space of competition where you are trying to garner more connections with NASA researchers and with the actual activities and missions that we plan for the future. So this, as I mentioned here just a moment ago, is a challenge that is administered by the Science Technology Mission Directorate at NASA in conjunction with the third party vendor HeroX. And as we heard from Dan previously, Kyla, I also believe, is on the line. Those are two of the representatives that we are working with diligently from HeroX. And as I talked previously about the period of performance, it is shorter. So there are some awards you submit for, and you're literally working on this award for 4 years or 5 years, maybe even a shorter period of time. Wouldn't it be nice to submit to an award that has a shorter period of performance? So that as you are juggling all of the activities that you are responsible for managing, this one will take up maybe less time and less space. So, great option. And you'll be happy to know that no cost extensions are not a thing here. Okay. So I know that that's something that you also may be familiar with from other opportunities. We're not done. The period of performance has expired. Oh, we need more time. We need a no cost extension. That will not be the case with this particular challenge. So you all will notice some differences with the branding piece. It is a private branded website. You'll also notice that as we talk a little bit later in this call, this particular challenge is an opportunity for you to submit to multiple topic areas from multiple mission directorates. Um, all of the MSIs that we have here on the line now, you can choose from um, topics, over 40 topics, actually, I'm sorry, at 40 topics for this particular challenge for FY24. And again, we'll get into what those specific topic areas are. Let's go ahead. So again, we have mission directorate led topic areas. Here are some of the benefits where it provides early learning for future solicitations. There are a ton of solicitations that NASA offers every year. When you are involved in an activity like this, it gives you the opportunity to get one leg up above the rest of your competitors. So you have the opportunity to not only learn about what NASA is currently doing, but what how we're doing it, right? And also the key players, all of the subject matter experts that you need to be connected to better understand the intricacies of NASA's needs. You have access to them through this particular challenge. So, again, topic areas are directly linked to mission needs. Again, that's very important. You gain access to non-MERP funding opportunities as well by going through this particular activity. It is also a precursor to future MERP solicitations. This is the thing that we really strive to do with the MERP program. It is not to have institutions to engage in a one-time award or in a one-time student engagement activity. It is a foundation. It is a starting point to open up the door for many, many opportunities down the road. So if you are getting started or if you're looking to expand your portfolio, you are absolutely in the right place. MSI awardees get access to NASA researchers. This is the biggest thing, access. So many of our minority serving institutions do not have access directly to NASA researchers, whether it be because you're not close to a particular NASA center or you're not familiar with the subject matter experts that may have matriculated from your institution, if there are any, right? So this is a great opportunity for 6 to 8 months to engage with key NASA personnel. It is a cohort-based training to better understand NASA processes. Again, this is like getting the inside scoop. So incredibly beneficial activity to participate in. As well, the MIRUP MSI newsletter expansion. All respondents become participants in the MIRUP listserv. That means that you're getting the information. You're right there on the pulse of things, as opposed to finding out maybe months down the road. When you're on the listserv, as things are rolling out, you will receive those notifications. And again, that's another great benefit. Moving to the next slide. Little slide happy there, little trigger happy there. So with this particular activity, as I expressed earlier, there are about 40 topic areas coming from these various mission directorates and programs. And I will give it to Darcel to talk a little bit more about that. And we will move forward from there to hear from some of those programs to discuss those specific topic areas. Thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. So I'm going to read off what these abbreviations mean because we use these a lot. You'll oftentimes, if you are selected, you'll oftentimes hear the terms SOMD, TRISH, STMD, SCTR, things like that. So we'll read them off to you. We have the Space Operations Mission Directorate. We have within that the Translational Research Institute for Space Health. We have 4 various topics coming from Kennedy Space Center. We have the Human Research Program. And then within the Space Technology Mission Directorate, we have Small Business Technology Transfer, Space Technology Research Grants, Innovative Advanced Concepts. And then in the following mission directorate, we have Aeronautics Research Mission Directorate. So again, you will hear from these, the representatives of these mission directorates today. Next slide, please. All right, so we wanted to make sure that we shared, as stated earlier today, these are our MPLAN points of contact: Tracy Washington, Rod Chappelle, and myself. Next slide, please. All right, you guys. So we have our launch date. We have already launched. We launched last week. And the announcement will be open for the announcement of the selected institutions will be open around April 15th. And then we have our selection process. As you can see, our award notification time frame, our payment process, which takes a little time. So we wanted to let you know once you're selected, it should be there by July. And then our period of performance, where we will have our cohort kickoff meetings, which there will be several of those. And 6 months period of performance is how long this lasts. And as stated, we do not have the no cost extension. So at this time, I'm going to pass it over to Rod Chappelle, which is the MIRUP Partnerships and Sustainability Pillar Lead, as well as the Activity Manager, to go through the mission directorates.
Okay, can you hear me? Sure. All right. Thanks and welcome, everyone. Thank you, team, for going through those slides about the MPLAN activity. What we would love to do at this point is give the mission directorates an opportunity. Okay, something's popping up on my screen. An opportunity to share out about the topic areas that they have placed into this year's MPLAN activity. They will have about 5 minutes each. The topic areas will be discussed. And then if you have questions, as Dan and the team mentioned, just you can put those in the Q&A. I will tell you that we're going to be here for a short period of time. So if you have questions, you can also add them into the FAQs on the HeroX site, and we'll be responding to those within 24 hours. So you don't feel like you have to ask every question today, but we're happy to answer those within this time period. So we're going to first start with our STMD organization, Space Technology Mission Directorate, and our STTR program. Is someone on the line? I'm not sure. There are a few folks here who's going to be chatting.
Yeah, Rod, I'm here. Unfortunately, my camera's not working very well. I'm at a conference at Kennedy Space Center, so I apologize about that. Um, my name is Janelle Steele, and I am with the SBIR and STTR program. And this is actually our fourth year participating in an activity like this. We were with MPLAN last year for the inaugural release of that solicitation. Prior to that, we've done what we called MSTTRs, which is pretty much the same flavor, but we were the only program that was participating in it at the time. And the desire for what we are trying to do with this M-Plan under the STMD with STTRs to give MSIs, minority serving institutes, an opportunity to work with small businesses prior to the release of our solicitation, which comes out at every January. So we currently have a solicitation open now. The M-Plan topics for STTR are based on those same STTR topics that you see in the current solicitation. There is no guarantee, of course, that all of those subtopics will be in the next solicitation that comes out in January of 2025. But I will say 85 to 90% of our technology needs don't change drastically year to year. We are basing our STTR solicitation on our center core competencies. And so typically those are in areas that are on the lower technology readiness levels. And so they're not usually changing very much from year to year. So we ask that if you are looking at being a part of the M-Plan under STTR, you look, and they'll be listed in the M-Plan solicitation as well. But they are STTR, all of our STTR topics. If you also want to get a little further information about some of these STTR topics, you can go to our SBIR website, which is nasa.gov/SBIR_STTR. And within that, and I'll put that in the chat here to everyone, unless someone can beat me to that. But under there, you will find what we've done this year is we've gotten some of our subject matter experts in our STTR areas to do a video, a short video around what their technology needs are. So it just gives you a little bit more information about that subtopic so that you can prepare to, in our solicitation case, you can prepare your phase one, but in this case, you're preparing for your award under the M-Plan, which will gear you up again for participation next year in our STTR. We've had, like I said, we've had several years that we've participated in this, and we've already awarded our first M-Plan or MSTTR participant a phase 2 award. So they just got a phase 2 award coming up here, and we're real proud of that. So hopefully that answered some of your questions, but if you have others, I'll stick around and try to participate in that. There's a lot of background noise where I am right now. So again, apologies about the disruption, but hopefully that offers some insight into what our particular topics are looking for.
Great. Thank you, Janelle. So she glided over that. I want to emphasize what she just mentioned. They've been doing the work with MURAP for a few years, and there have been several awardees that have come through the process and gotten a phase 1 award, which is $150,000. The phase 2 is $850,000, which we just had a selection there, Oakwood University out of Huntsville, Alabama. So that is a big deal. Janelle is working. I know she's at a conference. She'd probably be cheering and jumping up and down if she could. But that's a big deal for someone to come through this process. And that's what we're doing. So as you're thinking about MPLAN and the work that happens here over the 6 months working with mission directorates and subject matter experts, you then have the opportunity for further on funding. It helps you get prepared to respond to larger opportunities, and you see that we've had some success stories. Okay, great. We're going to continue with our Space Technology Mission Directorate, and we have a speaker, Dina Lambert. She's Inclusive Innovation Lead. So Dina, are you prepared?
Sure, great. Thank you so much for having me. I have a whole cadre of folks here that will be speaking to our opportunities. So for those who may be unfamiliar with STMD, we provide support to a number of the other mission directorates. But as you can see, I have a STMD strategic framework that describes kind of the categories that we, or thrusts that we work within. And that we like to call it go, live, land, and explore. And under those, you will see the technical capabilities. There's about 18 of them that you generally see announced as topic categories or topic areas in our solicitations. So the topic areas that we have here today, in addition to the ones for STTR, span not only for my program or my portfolio, which is ESIP, but also we have our friends here from Lunar Surface Innovative Initiative. So ESIP has SDIR as one of the programs, but two of the programs that I want to highlight today is our NASA Innovation Advanced Concepts, our NIAC program, as well as our STRG. We'd like to see if there's interest from you guys to get ready and prepared for upcoming solicitations. Some of them are coming up fast, some of them a little bit further down the line in late FY24. But as you can see from this chart, we have a whole breadth of opportunities, from partnerships that you could have with our center technologists through the early career initiative, to prizes and challenges, to our tech transfer where you can receive licensing for our patents. There's a lot of opportunities that we hope you are curious about, that we're happy to share some insight to. But the first one I wanted to bring up is John Nelson from our NIAC program. And this one is an awesome program because it is one of our most open. So I want to hand it off to John.
Thank you so much, Dina. Hello, everybody. I am John Nelson. I'm the Deputy Program Executive for NIAC, and I'm really happy to be here. NIAC is a special program, and I'm hoping that many of you get as excited about it as I am. NIAC is different from a lot of the other programs, even the ones within the early stage portfolio within STMD, because as Dina referenced, we are completely open. We don't have topics, which makes this as a topic under MPLAN a little unique. You'll notice the ones from other programs are discipline specific, or they're seeking specific technology solutions to particular technology challenges. We don't do that. We're looking for the most innovative yet credible visionary concepts that we can find. And we believe that the approach to that is full open innovation. So NIAC is open to any US organization, academia, NASA centers, other government, industry, nonprofits. It doesn't matter. We've had several garage inventors who create entities, create their own companies in order to propose to NIAC and have received awards that way. Ultimately, we're looking for things that will change the possible in aerospace. So we're not looking for widgets that are incremental improvements over existing technologies. We'll reserve that for other programs. And that, not to diminish the importance of that work, it's incredibly important. We have tons of technical gaps that need to be filled for NASA missions. And Dina just showed the framework of Go, Land, Live, Explore. We have tons of technical gaps in that. And NIAC will fund things that span that entire range across all of those roadmaps. But we're also here to break roadmaps. We're here to look for ideas to challenges that we may not have even thought of, or certainly solutions that we haven't thought of to known challenges. And to kind of reframe it, sometimes we refer to ourselves as science fiction to science fact. Sometimes we refer to ourselves as NASA's dream shop or change the possible. The reason we do that is just a foot stomp that what we're looking for is different than your average or typical NASA proposal. So a little bit about the structure of the program. Because we fund really early stage concepts, we start small. We start with what we call a NIAC phase 1, which is not technology development. It's a concept feasibility study. So it's typically 9 months long and 175K. And as our senior scientist, Ron Turner, likes to say, in phase 1, we don't fund you to develop your secret sauce. We fund you to tell us why your secret sauce should be developed. So if you have, a breakthrough concept that is brand new, we ask you to tell us why it's special. What's the impact? Put it in terms of a reference mission, so we understand how it would be an improvement over existing approaches. What are the benefits? Is it cost? Is it performance? Is it regular access to parts of space that we don't currently have? How is it going to change everything? Is really what we're looking for. And during that 9 months, you work out the feasibility of the concept. And the most promising concepts for phase 1 can then go on to phase 2, which is a larger award. That's for 2 years, up to $600,000. And there you're getting into real development in terms of buying down the risks and understanding the technical challenges and approaching the technical challenges to the concept. And what we strive for at the end of phase 2 is that the concept is now mature enough, hopefully, to hand off to a tech maturation program, a more traditional program within NASA or other government or industry development. Doesn't really matter for us. We just somebody else we're hoping can pick it up after phase 2. But in rare occasions, there's that project that's right on the cusp, the concept that's crazy but credible, and there are just a couple of things that really need to be shown that are possible before partners are willing to pick it up and do something with it. And we created phase 3 about 5 years ago for just those such cases. So those are $2 million awards for 2 years. And the expectation is that we are strategically transitioning a really transformative idea to other programs, other partners beyond NIAC and often beyond NASA. So what we're talking about in terms of the context of MPLAN, if we could go to the next slide, is an MPLAN award to help prepare for that first open door to NIAC, which is phase 1. So our solicitations come out on an annual basis, and NIAC phase 1 calls come out every June, usually June 1st or thereabouts. So because of the timing of this, the solicitation that will be most relevant, the nearest, is probably going to be the one that comes out June 1st of 2025. What we're looking for in a phase 1 proposal, it's a 2-step process. So typically we release, like I said, early June. By the end of June, early July, we ask for a white paper and 4 pages of description. Just so you know, we get about 300 of those every year. NIAC is a very competitive program. We do a screening and review of those 300 or so proposals. We typically get it down to about 100 that we invite for step B. Those are full proposals that are typically due like in the September timeframe.
Hi, John. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you have about 1 more minute, and then we're going to have to go to the next topic area because each MD has about 5 minutes to present.
Sorry, my bad.
No worries.
I'll be quick. Okay, so basically, through MUREP, what we suggest for proposal response, through MPLAN, is to think of your concept and frame it like you would a step A proposal. So but abbreviated. So just a quad chart using the template that we've provided here on the screen, as well as maybe up to a page of technical description. And again, NIAC is different, so we highly encourage you to use the links that are in blue on this page. The first is a link to all the NIAC studies that have been funded over the last 10 or 12 years. That'll give you an idea of the kinds of things that we fund and that we're interested in. There's also a link down at the bottom to last year's full solicitation for NIAC Phase 1. There's a lot of information there that may be helpful in better understanding the program and the eventual process that you would be going through to apply to NIAC. And I hope that helps. And thank you very much. I'm sorry if I went over time.
Great. So I will go through this really quickly. The next major category that we have is our space technology research grants. Two of them that I'd like to highlight is the early career faculty and the early stage innovations. In this particular slide, you will see that if selected based on the category, the ESI announcement is tentatively planned for February, so there's well enough time to get prepared for that. That is a university-led initiative, so there's PIs, but it's also a university component, as well as our early career faculty, which is led by those who are on non-tenure track positions, I believe. So the topic categories, and I'm saying categories for a reason, for STRG are in 4 areas that align well with our lunar surface innovation initiative. They are dust mitigation, extreme access, extreme environment, and excavation and construction. I have some folks from LSI here. If anyone is wanting to go into depth with that, please take a moment to do that. But for either of those, we're looking for a 1-page, essentially addressing the objectives, the technical approach, a research approach, and then the potential impact. So I want to pause for a moment to see if LSI has any additional comments. Okay, hearing none, and again, this is great for those. We try to create a wide enough window so that you could look at previous years, ESI as well as ECF solicitations to see the topic areas that were there, and then get a sense of how to propose for this particular MPLAN. And again, this is just a prep period or the upcoming solicitations for both of those announcements. So I want to hand it off to LSI. I believe Mike is going to describe the systems engineering.
And just really,
go ahead.
Really quickly, I just want to make sure that it's a very brief because we do need to get to the other mission directors within our time frame. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Okay, I'll be real quick. As Dana mentioned, can I share my screen for just a little bit here? Let's see. I did this a minute ago. Are y'all seeing that my PowerPoint presentation?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. It kicked me out of show mode. Let me get back in there. There. Okay, just real quick. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mike Cheng. I am one of the staff technical advisors on the Lunar Surface Innovation Initiative run out of headquarters. I should note that LSII, as it says, is an initiative. We're not program. And so we don't generally run our own solicitations. We leverage the venues that have already been briefed to you. For example, I work closely with the NIAC folks, the STRG folks, and SBIR to identify topics that are relevant to LSII. And as you can see here, our job is to really maintain a portfolio of projects that are executed across the entire directorate, and make sure that we have a technology pipeline for lunar surface technologies, all the way from the early stage projects all the way through more mature projects that are being executed in the technology demonstration and mission folks. Therefore, we actually do also push for early demonstrations of actual flight prototypes. And so we work closely with the commercial landing payload services office over in SMD, and also with the flight opportunities office within STMD. And so we leverage a lot of innovative partnering approaches to accomplish that. And one of the other biggest things that you may have heard of us from is we established the Lunar Surface Innovation Consortium, which is a public-facing organization that helps pull the community together that are interested in lunar surface technologies. And it's a way for us in NASA to communicate what our needs are, find out what the community's opinions are, help guide us, make sure we're aware of their developments and what the state of the art is out in industry and academia. So just really quickly here, Dana has already mentioned 4 of the focus areas that we look at. Our capability areas include many cross-cutting areas like excavation and construction and dust mitigation that don't have specific capabilities focusing developments in NASA. So we try to make sure we cover that in LSI and fill in anything that might be falling through the cracks. And as I mentioned, we do span across the directorate. So we work with the programs from early stage initiative all the way to TDM, technology demonstration, to ensure we have a good pipeline. And so that's all I have, just to give you guys an overview of LSII today. Thanks. Oh, one last thing. Hopefully you'll dial into, speaking of lunar surface, the Intuitive Machines landing coverage starts in about 15 minutes. And the landing is at 4:24 Eastern today. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mike and Dina and John. We're going to move to the next mission directorate, our Space Operations Mission Directorate. Kristen, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. And I didn't know we needed slides, so I just threw some over to Darcel. I don't know if you have a chance to pull those up or not. If not, I can just talk through it. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm excited to be engaging in outreach with you all. Again, my name is Kristen Fobb. I am the Deputy Chief Scientist over here at the Human Research Program, which is part of the Space Operation Mission Directorate. And our program is basically what it says. We focus on the human. We focus on the human, the health, behavioral well-being, and how we interact with vehicles. And this is really about space exploration. And so we use things like ground analogs, or what we mean by ground analogs, or facilities that mimic parts of space flight, or looking at some cell models or tissue engineering to understand the different hazards and risks that we might be coming across for when we experience space flight, space exploration. We also do research in low Earth orbit or on the International Space Station on how our body adapts to being in microgravity. So we've been in space now, living in space and interacting and doing work in space for over 20 years. And we've learned a lot over those 20 years and how we can live and work in space. And now that we can do that, we want to set our eyes to Artemis. We want to set our eyes to the moon and to Mars and beyond. And how do we live longer in space? How do we handle very unique space flight hazards for space exploration? For example, radiation. Galactic cosmic radiation is a unique space flight hazard for space exploration. Distance from Earth. So as we start moving away from Earth and we start seeing our planet get smaller and smaller, how do we become more self-resilient, self-reliant on the tools and the methods and the capabilities that we have as we're on our way to longer term space exploration on either the moon surface, our gateway, or on our way to Mars. Isolation. So if we think about being in those confined environments over a period of time, what does isolation and confinement do not only to our physiology, our human health, but also to our mental well-being as well? Then we also think about how do we deal with medical conditions and things that might arise that we need to prepare for. Again, just exposure to microgravity for a long period of time. Oftentimes our crew are in space for about 6 months. We've had a few kind of get closer to the year mark. What does it look like if people are in space for 2 years? What does that do to our systems? What does that do to our cognitive function or our mental health? And then we also have to think about just the environment overall, lighting, the sounds. How does that impact sleep? How does that impact our day-to-day job? Lunar dust or Martian dust, what does that do for example, our lungs? So these are the types of high-level questions, hazards that we think about, and we have a lot of risks that relate to the human health, human research under those risks. And there's 2 areas that we're really focusing on for this particular MPLAN, and one is on space radiation specifically. And that is, we're going to cover about 5 topics under that radiation umbrella. And of that, there's sex differences, the impact of sex differences of space radiation, screening for compound-based countermeasures. What does inflammation look like? The role of the inflammation, induced diseases caused by space radiation effects, health or disease monitoring capabilities. And so can we keep an eye on how the monitoring tissues or cognitive function, things that are impacted by radiation, how can we monitor? How can we be able to identify when something might be going off base? Also, the effects of space radiation dose rate on things like cancer, the initiation, promotion, and progression of cancer, cardiovascular function, cognitive function. These things are uniquely impacted by space radiation. So that's one topic that we have out. And then another one that we're working on in partnership with some of our folks over at the Crew Health and Performance Systems Capability Leadership Team. We like to have a lot of words, and we call this SCLT. And this is really looking at terrestrial crop evaluations. So we're looking at crops that we can validate in spaceflight environments, augment crew diets that are bioavailable nutrients, generate data on astronaut preferences, potential spaceflight countermeasures, understand the human plant microbial communities. So we want to build a lot of the interest for plants, all of the good stuff that the plants can provide the crew, and then also how do we maintain the plant growth, making sure we can have optimal nutrition as well. So those are a couple of the topics. Those are the 2 topics that we have out. We look forward to working with our colleagues over at the MeritUp team to continue to give you more topics in the future. But I will probably just leave it right there for now and hopefully that was a good overview for HRP, the Human Research Program. If anybody has any questions, Rod or Docel, feel free to send out my email. All of us at HRP are just delighted to be here, so we can make sure that we're answering any questions to the proposers that they may have.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Wonderful. That's pretty cool stuff. Okay, I am not sure if there's someone from the Trish team here with you that is. Oh, there's Rihanna. I see, but I don't see Rihanna's name. Okay, all righty, great, Rihanna. We're waiting for you.
Oh, great. Okay, so I'm Rihanna Bokhari. I'm the Deputy Chief Scientific Officer at Trish. And for everyone's information, Trish is a cooperative agreement with the NASA Human Research Program. So we kind of follow some of the same research risks and hazards that Dr. Fogg was explaining were important. So I'll just go ahead and tell you about the topics that we're interested in. We tend to take a little bit of an outside the box approach to looking at those same hazards and risks. So you can always take a look at the Human Research Roadmap to look at specific risks of interest. But we're particularly interested in topics associated with medical technology that could be used in remote or low resource environments to help keep the astronaut healthy. Gaining an understanding of the health state before a disease state takes place, because understanding that space in between, we hope that you can make an intervention there. Maintaining health and cognitive performance under stressful conditions. And then also the concept of getting healthy food into food deserts is important. And this is something that we deal with here on the ground, but when you think about it, that's a low resource environment, just like when you're in space flight, it's a low resource environment. And so trying to understand how to manage situations like that, and new innovative ways to think about especially engineering biology solutions and synthetic biology solutions in that area is very exciting. So I just encourage you to think outside the box. And if you want more detail, I'm happy to answer questions. And Rod and Darcel have my email, so you can always reach out to me. And I know we're short on time, so I'll just point you to the website, and there's a lot of information there for your needs.
Thank you, Rihanna. I appreciate it. All right. So our next and final Space Operation Mission Director topic, Jose, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Floor is yours.
All right. Thank you. So my name is Jose Nunez. I'm the Kennedy University Partnerships and Small Satellites Capabilities Manager. And we basically have 4 topics, 2 of them which are plant related. So for any schools that are that are agricultural related, please take a look. The first one is about kind of testing some of our clinostats and kind of looking at them and seeing how they're doing in terms of doing microgravity studies. The other one is about growing plants. The third topic is about satellite propulsion. Take a look at that one. And then the last one, which is close to my heart, is about small sat education. So, you know, it's very hard for a starting university or a PI to engage in developing a CubeSat. We get it. It's if someone's from the physics department or the mechanical department trying to do this CubeSat, which is a systems type project, has to go across different departments. So we're looking for folks who would like to engage in developing some curriculum for that, as well as an architecture to figure out how to make a successful CubeSat project within a university. So take a look at those 4 topics. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. Back to you.
Thank you, Jose. Wonderful. We will go to our next mission directorate, which is Aeronautics Research Mission Directorate. Andrew, are you there?
Hi, Rod. I'm here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, floor is yours.
Yeah, I've turned my camera on, but I'm going to turn it off because typically I lose contact with the webinar in Zoom through the web browser when I do this. So turning it off. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the opportunities in the Aeronautics Mission Research Directorate. There are many opportunities which show up in NASA and in our NSPIRES location on the web, and you can search for aeronautics research opportunities and NSPIRES, and you will find those. Typically, opportunities are added during the course of the year, so it's a good place to continue looking for opportunities beyond this MPLAN one that you may receive an award for. So this is a slide specific to one of those projects where you might find an opportunity, the University Innovation Project within ARMD. And here you see a list of the schools to date that we have worked with as a part of University Innovation in all of our pillar projects, University Leadership Initiative being just one of those, but the one where the biggest awards are offered and for the longest duration. So might you be one of the next PIs that proposes and wins an award to the University Leadership Initiative? Next slide. So NASA ARMD has 6 strategic thrusts. If you're interested in proposing, you probably are aware of those. The first one relates to air traffic operations and growth. The second one, which was commercial civil supersonic transport, sort of the lower end of the speed regime beyond subsonics, is now called high speed. So that narrative is changed a bit. Then subsonic transportation technologies, thrust 3, looking there at zero emissions aviation technologies as well as efficient and quiet transportation. Vertical lift is thrust 4. We do sometimes look for topics, have special topics in materials and structures and manufacturing. Thrust 5, I'm reading across the top there. System-wide safety for thrust 5 and autonomy thrust 6. So you can see the brief summary of some of the universities that have won awards in University Leadership Initiative and their project names. And there is more information online if you search for the ULI project. So ultimately, we've opened up the opportunities in MPLAN to all 6 strategic thrusts. So we're not specifically targeting any area in MPLAN. However, I will add that with the change in thrust 2 to high speed, and you see that we only have 2 awards there, that may be a good to areas focused on if you work in that area. Yeah, so ultimately, MPLAN and ARMD, we look to fund I think 4 or 5 of these awards, and then facilitate the engagement of you as a PI with subject matter experts at a NASA center, typically one of the aeronautics centers like NASA Ames, Langley, or Glenn. So we're currently providing those opportunities for the PIs from the first round of MPLAN, and look forward to doing that again for the second round upcoming. And that's about it from ARMD. I'm happy to, again, answer any questions, as the others have indicated, from the chat or in future engagements with you going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you everyone for participating in today. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes to see if there are any questions that are there for the entire team. Otherwise, we'll be able to respond to your individual questions within our FAQs. So I'll ask the HeroX team, Dan, Darcel, Tracy, are there things that we need to provide here, or have you been attacking those within the chat?
We do have some questions that have been coming up, Rod. Thanks for passing them over. The first thing that I will address as a question, and Rod, I'll allow you all and your team to comment as well, is there have been a few questions about specific types of eligibility, specific designations for schools that are around primarily undergraduate institutions and things of that nature. And the answer for that on my side is this challenge is open to minority serving institutions. There are currently a list of 7 main topic designations for MSIs, and it is constantly evolving, but I'm going to put a list in the chat right now for NASA's MSI exchange. You can go there and find all the information about the current list for MSIs and all of those designations. And I urge you to confirm with your institution if your institution has any of those designations for them. NASA team, anything you would add to that?
If there is a question about eligibility and you think that you are a minority serving institution, feel free to send us a question through the HeroX challenge page, and we'll go back and look within the system as well. There are some institutions that trigger their minority serving institution status in the midst of the data coming out. So we'll be able to check that with you with the Department of Education.
Thank you. Our next question is, can one MSI submit multiple proposals? Open that one up.
Yes, so one minority serving institution can submit multiple proposals. That's not an issue. There are multiple topic areas that you can choose from. So if you are interested, you can select any of those ones and apply to them. The rub here, if you will, is that the award will only go to one principal investigator. So at this point, we would not have, for example, Professor A at #1 university with multiple awards. However, you can have Professor A, B, and C at #1 university, and each of those PIs have different awards. Does that provide clarity to that question?
That was great. Thank you. We also have a question that came in. Oh, well, we'll stick with eligibility. Are women-owned small businesses eligible to participate in this challenge?
There are topic areas within the STTR portion. The minority serving institution must have a small business partner. It is a requirement. In that instance, a woman-owned small business can participate. That is the only place that they may happen as a partner. If an institution decides to work with a small business as their partner, that will be on the minority serving institution to select that other partner. Answer is yes.
All right, thank you. Moving into our next one that we can answer here. Does the proposer need to identify and team up with an expert from one of the mission directorates or the MPLAN team?
So in many instances, there is a requirement for a support letter. I think this is where we're going. That requirement is not necessary in this instance. However, there is a portion on your management team that says who are the folks that will be working on the different project. That's where you identify who all the partners are. There is no requirement that you have a NASA partner.
Yeah. Moving on. Do the MSIs need to build teams before proposing, or can an individual investigator from an MSI apply?
Okay, can you repeat that?
Do the MSIs need to build teams before proposing, or can an individual investigator from an MSI apply?
Okay. An individual investigator from an MSI may apply. However, depending upon what you write in your response, if there's a requirement for a team, you should identify your team at that point.
Right. We have another one here, which of course I can answer. There's a question of, is there a comprehensive solicitation, or we refer to the competition website? You can refer to the competition website. I posted it in the chat earlier. I posted again. I imagine everyone here, if you heard about it, you most likely have this page. But please go there. It's got every ounce of information you can need on it. And if for some reason you still have any questions, like has been mentioned multiple times, please feel free to submit a question through the forum on there, and we will get back to you.
And to be clear, as Dan mentioned, that is the only way to apply. Separate documents that are sent in will not be reviewed.
Great, thank you. Are international collaborations possible?
There is an overview of the STTR program where the companies that are partners must be US-based companies. That doesn't mean their headquarters may be somewhere else, but the US-based operation is the only one that will be reviewed from a partnership standpoint. If there are international universities as partners with the MSIs, those are allowed, yes.
And then I think this is a question when we have the budget template that's available, and a full filled out budget template will be required as part of a submission. I think there's a question around what can be budgeted when in their proposals.
There's no restriction to the budgeting. The budget will be reviewed based on the work that you are planning to do. I will say that you have categories in there. You will see that there is an opportunity for a gathering of the cohort in August. So we would hope that you would also plan some travel within your budget. But there are no specific restrictions to what you do. We're going to look at it based on what the work you say you're going to do within the 6 months.
Our most recent question. Love that questions are coming in. If anyone has them, don't be shy. Use the Q&A. There's a new question around final deliverables. For education-based awards, would the full curriculum and development of architecture be due, or a white paper outlining the curriculum, equipment, and facility needs?
So we can't specifically tell you what to write against or give you any guidance there. What I will say is there is no technical development that is required. This is conceptual in nature from a planning standpoint. The future opportunities may require some technical development, but not within the 6 months of planning. And so there will not be anything that is delivered at the end of it.
Had another question come in about the HeroX platform. I see if you're looking on the web page and you see there are listings for teams and innovators, I'm asking for an explanation on that. Those are people who have registered to compete in the competition. So as people sign up as individual innovators or they build a team, that's where you can see that. That's just strictly a feature for viewing how many people are taking part in the competition. Can researchers from non-MSI institutions be listed as collaborators on a project?
Yes. They just must understand the MSI is the lead institution.
Okay. There's a question that says, can we please elaborate about more around the requirement that at least 50% of the budget must go to the MSI?
So the purpose of the awards are to, and this is something we kind of touched on earlier, the purpose of the award is to assist the institution in developing their capabilities and infrastructure, things of that nature. And so that is why the requirement is that the at least the 50% that it goes to the minority serving institution as opposed to an external entity.
And I will build on that because it may be coming from a small business that understands the STTR program. Consider this a phase 0 effort. The minority serving institution is leading. We do realize once you go to a phase 1 and phase 2 that the small business is the lead. But in this instance, in a phase 0 in the STTR initiative, MSI is the lead, must be 50% of the funding.
Hey, Dan, in the interest of time, because I know that we had a time frame set for the meeting, in the interest of time, perhaps can we select a few more questions and then round off? And I just want to remind everyone that we do have the FAQ tool that you can continue to utilize, and Dan can elaborate more on that piece.
Absolutely. Great timing because that was our final question. So you nailed it. So with that, yes, we're done with the Q&A portion. In the interest of time, Darcel, you had mentioned that you wanted to cover a couple things before we close out today.
All right, so I'm sharing my screen, but you couldn't hear my voice. I apologize for that. So can everyone see my screen? I think so. All right. So I just wanted to go through here and show you the NASA MPLAN website. There are several ways that you could get to the challenge page. Some of you may know about this landing page, and just know you could click here to learn more, and it will take you to our challenge page, as well as here you may be taken to this website from the QR code. And if so, you'll just click learn more and apply, and both of those will take you to our challenge page where you can apply. Just scrolling down really quickly, we have our overview. Here's where you'll click to view the various mission directorate topics in detail. As you heard those synopses today from those 3 major mission directorates within. So I just wanted to scroll through there and let you know you can click here, find more about the eligibility, our timeline, any additional resources, any questions that you may have. Feel free to submit those within the frequently asked questions, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. And that is all that I have.